All right, what's up? Hey, Tob, what's going
Hey,
on, man?
hey, what's going on, buddy? Welcome back
I
to
know.
the Gonna See My Friends podcast.
Yeah. We're gonna just do a little quick recap or review or whatever of the Penguin, and this to me, I'm excited to talk about this because it's kind of a palate cleanser for me in a sense, and I'll get to what I mean by that in a minute. But what are your thoughts, Toby, on the show?
So, I wasn't planning on actually watching this show, and I usually watch stuff that's on HBO. HBO series are few and far between when they miss the mark. And the reason why I wasn't really planning on watching this show is I'm more of when it comes to the Batman series, when it comes to the
Yeah,
Batman franchise.
yeah.
I am more of I go down the road of, I like Christopher Nolan's.
Oh, Nolan stuff. Yeah,
I like the take on the Dark Knight arc. And I didn't read the Batman comics. I was a Spider-Man guy.
yeah. Me too. Yeah,
More Marvel than DC.
yeah.
But I did read when Robin died. I read those books. There was a 4-part series where
Yeah.
the Joker killed. Spoiler alert: the Joker killed Robin, and I liked those. But
Yeah.
I liked the Batman a lot. I was really quite surprised by how much I did like it. I thought it was a more realistic of all the different Batmans out there. He's not this billionaire playboy kind of character as Bruce Wayne. It's grittier, it's grimier, it's more realistic. He doesn't have
Yeah.
super powers, or not powers, but super. I mean, he's got the car, he's got the Batmobile, but it's like something that he made in his garage on the weekend project kind of thing. And I
Right.
dug
Right.
that a lot. It was like an old Charger or something, I want to say. It was a straight up hot rod with flames coming out of the back, and I loved it.
Yeah.
And then I was a little surprised to see that they would do a Penguin spinoff,
Yeah. I was
because
definitely surprised.
he wasn't a huge character in the movie.
Yeah.
So but I love Colin Farrell, and you
Yeah.
can't even tell. I was like, wow, that was Colin Farrell. Oh my god.
Right. Well,
So
that's yeah.
starting this first episode, I love that it picked up right where the movie left off. The city's flooded. And the news is on the background recapping. I think even in the news, you hear the first thing you hear is kind of faintly in the background. There's a news report, and it's the Riddler's first victim. In that they're talking about, they've found the dead body, and that was, I think, his very first victim. So it actually might even go back before the end of the movie.
Yeah.
But I was hooked before in the cold open. It
Oh,
got me
really? Yeah.
immediately. Oh my god,
Yeah.
Colin Farrell is so good.
Yeah. I mean, to your point about the whole not expecting it. I remember when the first Batman or the Batman came out, and I liked it as well. And I remember that I was hearing, well, they're going to do HBO is going to do a spinoff of the Penguin, and I was like, before I don't care
Right,
about the Penguin.
right.
Um, I appreciated that he was part of his I don't know what they call it, the cabal of his villains. I forget what they call it, but and that was fine. And you had Burton's kind of twist
Hmm.
on it in Batman Returns, and so I wasn't really expecting much of it. And when I saw that first episode, like I said in the opening, it was kind of a palate cleanser because I had just watched, I'd just come off The Acolyte. I had just seen Salem's Lot, that's the HBO Max movie, and you go into those series or movies, and they're like your favorite things, and you're just expecting. I want to see some great stuff. I want to see where it's going to go. And then you start to realize, oh, this isn't that good. And you give it the benefit of the doubt, and you watch a few more episodes, and you think, well, maybe they're just being too clever, or I'm not getting something. But this is really not good. And you get you get to the end of the series, and you're like, oh god, that was horrible. And in this one, just right out of the gate, is the writing is good, the acting is good. Every scene of every line, every scene contributes to or drives the story, which is what you want in any great TV series or movie. And it's so compelling that you're just there's a few times where I'm like, I don't know where this is going. And then you're like, oh, whoa, okay, now I see where it's going because
Do
it
you have an
pays
example?
off.
Do you have
What
an
was that?
example of that? Do you have an example of
Yeah,
where
like
you're confused?
well, it's not so much confusion. It was just more of um yeah, like her coming back from Arkham Asylum. Like I
Right.
just thought, okay, cool. All right, well, she's coming back from Arkham. She was probably has like mental problems or something. Her family put her there. And I don't really, cool. That's a nice little uh backdrop of or nice little drop of her story, a little piece of her story. That's cool. All right, cool. And didn't really think about where that would be going. And then you get into episode, what is it, 3 or 4, and it's just about how she gets into Arkham,
Right.
which informs her character in the first couple of episodes, where you're like, yeah, she does have a screw loose. But again, thinking, oh, okay, well, she's from Arkham. She's probably one of those kids that had depression or something, and her parents just put her away. But it gives that character, which is already amazing, that much more kind of ammo, and it especially the flashbacks before she goes into Arkham
Yeah.
and her relationship with Oswald, or
Mm-hmm.
Oz, her driver, to see where the beginning of all of her betrayals began, right? Like, because her relationships with her family, relationships with her mother, well, not her mother, but relationships with everybody else in that family, uh, all the betrayal, and it starts with Oz. It's just a chef's kiss, man. It
Yeah.
just, I mean, now you have the whole spectrum of why, what she's motivated by, and why she carries this thing. And I think kind of the Arkham experience kind of, I think, erases the, what's the word, the preconceived notions that we kind of all carry in our lives, like our relationships with each other, the things we say, the things we don't say, that's gone for her. She's just all like id, or whatever. She's just all just, I'm gonna say what I think at all times, and that's just, it's amazing. It's just a great show to watch. I love it.
It really, it's a true. I was not expecting the Penguin's arc in this to be. He's, first of all, every time we've seen the Penguin before, he's been this little kind of guy.
Yeah,
He's been
right.
comedic in the '60s with Adam West's Batman, where he's got his teeth are clenched the
Yeah,
whole time, and he's got the cigarette, and he's got the purple suit and the umbrella, and he's
Burgess Meredith. Yeah,
Burgess.
yeah,
Thank you, Burgess
yeah,
Meredith. That's right. And then Danny DeVito
yeah,
was, in everybody's opinion, that was the best Penguin for us, and maybe probably for our generation.
yeah,
He was a
yeah,
great Penguin because
yeah,
he had like the webbed fingers. I mean, he was
yeah,
like half Penguin. He was like,
yeah, right.
he was hard to watch. He was disgusting, right? Which you have to have Danny DeVito do that because he loved
Yeah,
it. He's always been like that. I'm the best Penguin. I don't care what anybody says, and
yeah, yeah,
but to see this big, massive, hulking, like Tony Soprano esque, because Tony Soprano, let's, not to, he reminded me a lot of Tony Soprano because Tony Soprano, kind of a moron, right?
yeah,
He wasn't the boss to begin the show. He was still kind of, it was a capo, and he, it's his arc about how he becomes the boss, and with Oz and Colin Farrell, who must have spent 3-4 hours a day in makeup. He's unrecognizable as this character, and he's got that New York accent when he's saying things like "moida."
Yeah.
Really, he really dove into that. He went really old school mob. You feel, and you're bought in immediately. You're
Right.
like, first of all, he's disgusting, right? They don't really they don't explain why he's the Penguin, but then when you see him walk around, he's walking like this, and you're all, I'm going to assume that. And Penguin
Yeah.
is not. He doesn't go by that. It's a pejorative. They're calling
Right.
him Penguin as a put down.
Yeah.
And he hates it, and he's got this brace on his foot, and then he takes
He's got
his
a
shoe
club
off.
foot, I think, right?
And it's like his toes are all curled over each other, and you're just all, oh, this guy's just got to be in so much pain nonstop, right?
Right.
But then he won't like take a seat anywhere, like they get on the subway, and he won't sit down in the seat. Like he's his own. He's becoming his own like boss.
Right.
And to start out by being, and I forget her character's name, but Kristen Milioti is amazing.
Sophia. Yeah.
Sophia, thank you. Is a character from the comic books. I had to Google it. I'm like, it is from, and there's so many different variations on the comic book. There's a bunch of different storylines and different authors that wrote different things, and same with Spider-Man. There was a bunch of different storylines and different characters, but her arc is she really did get sent to Arkham, and you see sorry, what's her name again?
Sophia.
Sophia, thank you, blanking. That she's the hangman.
Right.
And she has to be reminded, what did they call me? And like this is in episode 1, like they're sitting down and what was it that they called me? Oh, they called you the hangman. It's to see what a horrible person her father, Carmine Falcone, really was, that he put her in there to keep her quiet because she figured out that Carmine killed her, he killed her mom.
Yeah.
And made it look like a suicide.
Right.
And I don't want to say too much because it's a short series, 6 episodes, I want to say.
I think it's going to be 8.
Oh, it's not over yet?
No.
Okay, good. Because I was like, I haven't seen the end, so maybe we don't want to talk too much about what ends up happening. But the idea that she comes in and like you said, she's just got let out of Arkham. Normally people aren't let out of Arkham. If we know what Arkham is, it's the psychiatric hospital / prison, and they create her as a monster. They make her evil. She wasn't an evil person. She was doing fundraisers with her mom, and was this philanthropist and really helping women's rights. And so it didn't really make any sense why she's also a serial killer that's the hangman and is murdering all these women. It's almost like, wow, if she's really doing that, then it's kind of the perfect crime. You wouldn't suspect somebody who's so into giving back to the community and all this, and meanwhile they're this monster. But they did a phenomenal job in showing the electroshock therapy and that doctor who's been in it before. But the younger doctor, they had the 2 doctors. And the younger doctor who, and I forget the actor's name, but he was Juice in Sons of Anarchy.
Dr. Julian Rush, that's his name in this. Yeah.
That's right. He's great, and you're not sure if you can trust him or not. You kind of want to. He's playing the good cop to the other doctor's bad cop for sure. And you're kind of going, something else is going to happen here. Like he's for one, definitely attracted to his patient, which is a no-no.
Right.
And I think that may be his motivation from what we've seen from him, is that the reason why he wants to help her is because he wants to be with her.
You're right. Well, yeah, I think that's, I think that transformation, like going into Arkham and seeing the electric shock therapy, I think that's such, I don't know if it's a metaphor, but you see this transformation that is there. There's a scene that she has with her dad. I think it's, I want to say it's, I don't know. It's the scene where they're having dinner and her brother takes off and he's like, "What what's up with him?" And she's like, "I'll take care of him. Don't worry about it." But there's this thing where he says, "This is for you. You're going to take over when I'm gone." And you see this kind of this strength that's in her because she's able to kind of she's able to kind of um, take care of her brother and watch out for him, but also, get her shit together and have her shit all lined up and all this stuff. And you see that in her, but yet she's still subservient to her father. She still holds her father in some sort of regard, which from when she was young, she's always had this kind of doubt planted in her mind, like, well, you had scratches on your hands, and having these kind of feelings about it. And then so when she goes through that whole shock therapy, that's all just killed and that's all just kind of thrown away. And when she comes out, I mean, it's incredible the way that they layer all of this stuff into this not just the character but the storyline,
Mm-hmm.
and it carries the story. It's all about it's such the opposite, and I hate to keep harping on this, but it's such the opposite of the Acolyte and Salem's Lot, which is those movies and series were more tell me, don't show me. And this is completely show me, don't tell me. It's
That's
just showing you without preaching or without kind of any kind of expositional dialogue of like, well, see, I was in Arkham for 10 years and you don't get that speech, but you get shown it, and it
right.
weaves so brilliantly into the storyline that you're just kind of captivated, or at least I am, and I'm watching it going, wow, man, this is just a great story. This is just well written, like I said before, well directed. It's directed, these I think 3 and 4 were directed by Helen Shaver,
I saw that.
which was the actress in The Color of Money. She played Paul Newman's little love interest, and she's just a great actress to begin with. But and I didn't know that she had started directing. So she was talking. I was listening to the little epilogue thing that they have after each show, and she was saying, we went to Steadicam here because she's more in control, and this
Oh,
shows
nice.
her power. And then we went to handheld here to show kind of the chaos of Oz and his mother's relationship. And when I hear a director kind of talking in those terms, then I'm like, okay, yeah, they know what they're doing in the show, all around from top to bottom. So, yeah,
You're absolutely right. They did, and this, all the directors did this. I noticed that too, because coming in with a preconceived notion that this is an HBO show, so if they're bringing it, you got to bring your
yeah,
big game for
yeah,
HBO, right?
yeah,
And so I noticed early on in the episode 1 and episode 2, there were a lot of shots of the city and then panning down to show
right,
we're going
yeah,
down into the underworld.
yeah.
But as the show progresses, we see a lot more shots where it's starting out on the ground and panning up. And I'm
Oh,
like,
I didn't notice that.
I'm going to
That's
say that's
awesome.
probably foreshadowing that this is the come up. You're
Yeah.
seeing the rise of these characters,
Oh,
and
wow.
it could be a misdirection,
I
but
mean,
the use of the flashbacks to
yeah,
show 10 years of Arkham was amazing. I almost wanted to start the whole series over again after that episode.
yeah,
You get through episode 4, and I'm like, I'm just going to start this over because that was amazing. That was
yeah,
to see that she was actually this real. She's the mob boss's daughter, but she's doing good things, and she's
right,
her own. She's
yeah,
not going to be part of this.
right, right,
And to show how they end up creating her as a monster, I don't know if the whole point was for him for Falcone to put her in Arkham for 2 reasons. One, because she had solved the crime, and
right,
he needed to. He's like, well, she's going to take this to the police. She was going to take this to the police, which he owns the police, but still, she
right,
was going to take it to somebody. And so he gets her out of the way, and at the same time, he creates her as in his own image, where now
Right.
she is a lunatic.
Yeah.
You're a sane person going into an insane asylum, and you're going to come out an insane person.
Well, that scene where she's getting told that, it for me, I was feeling that whole thing of, wait, I'm innocent. Like, how can this be happening? And I was like, how can this be happening? Call a
Yeah,
lawyer. And then her lawyer is the one telling her this, and I'm like, you feel that kind of that
the
disappointment, that
hopelessness.
yeah, the hopelessness of it, great word, of it, and you're in there with her. And
Yeah.
again, goes back to the writing, goes back to the acting. And yeah, I think it's again, I can't kind of stress enough how great this TV show has been. Really quick question:
Hmm.
what's been your favorite episode so far?
Boy, I'm still like that opening scene with Oz and Carmine's son,
Oh, in the first episode, yeah,
Alberto.
yeah,
Is I was hooked right in, and I went, that might be, because like, honestly, when you suggested we should do the Penguin, and I'm like, well, I haven't watched it yet, and you said I watched the first episode, and I'm like, okay, and I have HBO, so
uh,
I guess I could check it out, and honestly, didn't really want to. I wasn't expecting to like it at all,
yeah,
and that surprise of me going, because I texted you after the cold open,
right,
I'm,
yeah,
holy crap, dude, this is amazing. Remember that? I was just
yeah.
like,
I
I
remember.
don't, they can't make enough of these already. In that, just
Right.
that, I don't know if it's that first shot of heroin or whatever, but it's like that feeling of like, wow, this. I'm so glad I'm wrong about this.
Yeah.
You know,
And I
uh,
mean, we could probably go on and on about the relationships in the series too, because I mean, through it all, it's the penguin. I've been talking about Sophia the whole time, but the
yeah,
penguin as well. I mean, his relationships, the dynamic of all of his relationships throughout the series too, is all because of this kind of connection that he has with this stutterer,
yes, the kid,
Victor. Yeah,
Victor, so
and
good,
so this connection that he has because he has the club foot, and he kind of maybe sees something in him, and he's always looking out for him, especially in that scene in the restaurant where they're having lunch, and he's like, hey,
right?
don't say that to him. He's always kind of looking out for him.
He's being
That
groomed. Victor's
Yeah,
being groomed, right?
yeah, well, groomed, but I think also there is a little bit of kind of parental kind of
Yeah,
feeling there, because I think he sees a lot of him in Victor, because I there's that scene in the last episode, I think, or maybe it was where he tells Victor to go take my mom somewhere safe,
right.
and he goes to pick her up, and she's like, "Look at this glove when you used to wear it for Little League," and it's this idea that I think that the penguin was always kind of groomed in a way to be kind of hard and to not, so when he sees Victor and he sees kind of the way he is, there is that element of being groomed into this kind of criminal, always look behind your back and all this kind of stuff. But there's also that parental kind of vibe where you're like, hey, listen, you did great, you did good, thank you, all that. Make sure he says all that to him as well. And I think that, like, that plays into his manipulation of everybody else that he meets, of like the Falcones, Sophia, just everybody that he's trying to kind of connect with because of a little thing that he wants, something else that he wants. He wants power. He wants to take over the whole city. And so so there's that balance between him and Victor's relationship, but also the influence of his mother, which is always kind of, be hard, don't be a pussy, that kind of thing. And that plays into kind of, I think, more of the whole idea of, because everything he gets into, you're like, how is he going to get out of
Yeah,
this?
yeah,
And that's his mother's influence of like always being a step ahead, always having that one play, that you don't see, like at the beginning or at the end of one or two, where he has Victor, crash that car with Alfredo, is that his name?
Alberto.
Alberto. Body in the trunk. I didn't see that one coming,
No, I
and
didn't either.
so that kind of lends you to believe, like, okay, this Penguin guy, he's damaged, yeah, but he's more hard, and he's got to be, like I said before, like he's got to be, because he's going to go up against Batman, and Batman's the world's greatest detective,
That's right.
and so that you have to leave room for that kind of cunning, but also growth in Penguin, because he has to elevate to this level that he's going to go toe to toe with Batman. So I think this series is kind of showing you in a great way, like, how that's happening.
I thought of Breaking Bad when Victor is taken hostage early on, right? Because he sees Oz disposing of Alberto's body, or bringing the dead body down from after the opening scene. And he basically takes him hostage, and they take him out to some junkyard. And Oz is about to. He's like, okay, hey, look at the sunrise. And Victor's like, he realizes, well, now he's going to kill me because I know too much. And Oz has a choice to make. He can either just get rid of any witnesses, which is, we'll find out if he made the right choice here, or take this kid under his wing, and he becomes a parental figure to Victor. And I think the reason why he does that is because of his relationship with and I'm sorry, what's her name again?
Sophia.
Sophia. I don't know. I have a mental block. I don't know why I want to say Kristen. And we see that because he was Sophia's driver 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And he was kind of a father figure. And the restaurant scene that he has with her in the first episode.
Oh yeah.
She's sitting there and they're having martinis. And she says something to the effect of, my father never let me put my elbows on the table. And he's sitting across from her, and he's wondering if he's going to kill him or not, right?
Right.
He's, she's looking for the killer of her brother, and she happens to be sitting across the table from him. And he puts his elbows on the table, and so does she. And so he's given her permission, to do, now he's kind of the father figure. So his relationship with his mother juxtaposed with how he is helping raise the younger generation. Really, really cool how they've connected, like how different the different worlds are. And it's kind of a softer Penguin when you see that, but he's got this ulterior motive. He's starting a war so that he can end up on top. It's between the Falcones and the Maronis, right? And he does a great job of starting this war. Now, I don't know that he's thought this all the way through. Clearly, he hasn't, because Victor saves his life twice. In the first, 3 episodes. Incredible.
Great. Just great writing all around, dude.
Yes.
Great series. I'm really excited about where this is going. I was reading an article just before we got on here, and it says that viewership is doubling, or it's gaining viewers with each episode, which they haven't really seen since the first season of Game of Thrones, and some other series.
Breaking Bad. When my thought on Breaking Bad was that Jesse was supposed to die at the end of the first season, and they ended up keeping him in, and he's arguably everybody's favorite character in the show. And with Victor, you had that too, where, and this is more in the show and not in the politics of how we're making the show, where we now have to rewrite where the show is going, because he wasn't supposed to have a partner, Jesse, but we can't kill Jesse now because we love him. You just can't. I mean, that would be so the working on the fly kind of thing. We have that with Victor, in that you love Victor. Victor's great. Victor's Breaking Bad in this. I mean, he was stealing rims. He was, a nickel and dime kind of hood, and now he's straight up murdering people. And you're like,
well, that scene in the bathroom, which you were saying about in the first episode where Penguin was going to kill him, informs that scene in the bathroom in episode 4 when they're handing out the drug,
Right.
and he was saying he puts the gun to his head. He says, "Is this what it feels like to you?" And for me, I was like, "Yeah, like that's probably how he felt throughout this whole thing," because he's like, he's got kind of, should I leave? Should I go? Is this right? Should I? And then once he kind of sees his girl leave, he's like, "I have nothing left, so I'm gonna
Right.
go full in with this," and that's such a pivotal scene, I think, in this series for Victor. But
It's
yeah.
Victor's very tense. He could be killed at any moment.
Yeah.
I
Right.
mean, how does this kid sleep at night?
Right.
At
Yeah.
any minute, once he's done with me, I'm expendable. I mean,
Right.
I know way too much.
Yeah.
And with every other crime these crimes are snowballing, and you got to commit one crime to get away from the other crime, kind of
Yeah.
thing. And it's not that the cops are looking for you; it's
Right.
you got two different mafia families, and you've double crossed both of them.
Right. Oh yeah. And you
I mean,
see
you've
that
got
in the last episode, the newest episode. You see that when he's calling, he's like, I got a lot of heat on me,
yeah,
taking them
got a
all,
lot
and
of heat on me.
you see it in his face, and it's again Colin Farrell. I mean, I don't
Amazing.
even see him.
No,
Like when it's over, and then I see interviews with him. I'm like, oh yeah, he's the Penguin. I don't even see him.
no.
He's doing such a great job. I love him as an
Oh,
actor, anyways. So
he's amazing, and this might be some of his best
yeah,
work that he's ever done.
yeah,
And
I
it's
would I
like,
would agree.
and it's really, I'm excited for the next, the Batman 2,
Yeah,
because I have a
because
feeling
this is only going to be one season of this Penguin. So
this is the connection between
yeah, yeah,
the two movies, and I don't know that we're going to see the Joker in this. I don't know that we're going to see. Well, I mean, she was in Arkham for 10 years, and we
right,
know from in Batman and in the Batman that we know that that they're both in Arkham at the same
yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah.
And will we actually see? There was a deleted scene
Oh really?
that I found in looking at this, that Batman in the movie, in the 2022 movie, that he goes in and it's only like a 5-minute scene, but if you Google it, you'll find it. It's
Okay.
I forget the actor who plays him. He's just credited as unseen Arkham patient or something like that. But
Yeah.
he's the one who's talking through the to Paul Dano,
Uh-huh.
and you can kind of tell because he's kind of doing the kind of Joker.
Yeah.
But there is a scene that they cut from the movie that might end up in the second movie. I don't know. But Batman goes in and interviews
Oh, the Joker.
Joker,
Yeah.
because he's trying to solve, and he goes to,
Yeah.
I don't know how that would have fit into the movie. It's just
Right.
shocking to me that that I just now stumbled across it. But it's this Joker that we're going to see in this world is much different than Heath Ledger's, and
Yeah.
certainly much different than Jack Nicholson's
Right,
version
right,
of
right.
the Joker.
They
This
seem
is
to
a
get
crazy person.
Yeah, they seem to get like worse and worse in terms of like psychosis. It seems to get worse and worse with each picture. Like he seems to get more but yeah. So
Watch it.
yeah.
It's
So
on YouTube.
overall, great series, great episodes. I'm glad you came on and talked to me about it, because I think we should do this at the end too when it's done.
Yeah,
We'll give it a
agree.
recap. And Dune is coming out next month. The series. We should do that. Do maybe episode by episode, or maybe half a season in. We'll figure it out. But
and the second season of Silo.
Oh, I've never seen the first season.
You didn't see that? Okay, so I read all the books, and that was a real page turner. The guy self-published all those books, and so Christina and I read all those books. There's quite a few of them. He put them out like almost in chapters, like the way Stephen King did The Green Mile, where he published them as individual chapters and then put it out as a great big book.
Yeah.
But I'm down to do all those. Dune series looks wild. That's a movie. Those movies, part 1 and part 2, we can watch if those are on and we're flipping through channels. It's put a remote control down.
Yeah.
They're just so watchable, and there's so much to look at, and very pleasing to the eye, and all that. Yeah. So,
all right, cool.
Watch the Penguin, guys.
Yes.
Even if you don't know, you don't have to know anything about Batman. It's just a good crime, double cross.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen next kind of show. Totally watchable.
And I concur, man. I agree with Toby there. And so, yeah, so thanks everybody. I got a pod coming out. I actually released the new pod, the Nightmare on Elm Street pod today. Had some technical difficulties last night. It's out today. I'm putting out another one with Eric McNeely, or my cousin-in-law. That's either come out tomorrow or Thursday. And then
Nice.
we got it for what is it? The Thing
We're
on
doing the thing on
Thursday.
Thursday. We watched it
All right.
last night. I got to watch it again. Oh god, there's so much. There's so much going on in the thing. John Carpenter outdid himself with the thing, man. Holy
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks everybody, and be sure you tune in, and we'll see you all real soon. All right.
Thanks,
See you
guys.
guys.